I'm Tom Layson, and this is a Northwest Now Digital Extra. Policing and race relations continue to be a hot topic on Northwest Now. King County Sheriff John Urquhart is trying to change the culture there, doing things like eliminating chokeholds and focusing on de-escalation in a new curriculum at the State Training Commission. As a conversation starter for a panel discussion, I traveled to Seattle for a conversation with the sheriff about the use of force and race relations, and I started with a question about the renewed emphasis on community policing.
You know, I've said many times that if you ask 20 cops to define community policing, you'll get 25 or 30 different definitions. So my definition is getting out of the police car, talking to people, working with people one-on-one. That's really how you interact with not only just the community of persons of color, but with any community, because people are always intimidated by the police when they see them driving by in that police car.
What does that relationship do? What does getting out of the police car and talking a little bit with folks, what does that do?
It allows for an interaction one-on-one, a human interaction one-on-one. And that's no different for the police than it is with anybody else. You have to have that human interaction to understand people, to empathize with people, and at times to sympathize with people. Absolutely very, very important, and certainly important for the police.
In addition to that community piece, that relationship piece, it also matters whether the people in the community can relate to the officer himself. You've talked about a need for more minority officers in King County. Expand on that.
Well, I think it's absolutely critical that our police department, the sheriff's office, or any police department, reflects the community. If the community is going to trust us, if they're going to be able to relate to us, we have to look like the community. And right now we don't. We got way too many white guys, and we need women. We should be 50% women, and we certainly should have more persons of color in the sheriff's office, in any police department, to reflect the community that we have to police and that we are asking to trust us and trust us to make the right decisions. It's critical. We can't do it without that.
From a career perspective, a lot of times I think the average officer on the street sort of sees racial issues as being a bit of the third rail of policing. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to engage about it. I'm not going to bring it up. I'm not going to seek it out. I'm not going to deal with it. How do you overcome that?
Certainly race relations and how we deal with certain communities are the third rail of policing. We don't like to talk about it because we get criticized so much. And for the most part, the criticism is valid. The police have not done a good job over the years of getting the trust from the community. A whole bunch of different reasons for that. But right now, going forward, and believe me, this is not something new. We've had this problem really forever. Right now it's back in the press again, but it was in the press 20 years ago, 30 years ago. But we have to do that to be successful. Our job is to reduce crime and the fear of crime. And if the community doesn't trust us, if they won't give us information, if they won't be good witnesses, then it's not going to happen.
When it comes to police brutality and bad actions that we've observed across the country from time to time via the new video revolution that's out there, a lot of times policing leadership will say, well, there are bad apples in that barrel to be sure. People like Norm Stamper in his new book are saying, no, it's the barrel that's rotten, not the apples. How do you respond to that? Do you think there's an overall cultural problem with policing?
I think in some police departments there is a cultural problem with policing. And it's the job of the sheriff or the police chief to change that culture. And I've been working very hard to make sure that the sheriff's office has the right culture. I think we were certainly on the right track long before I ever became sheriff, but I want to make sure that continues. I would disagree a little bit with Norm, however. There are absolutely bad apples in our profession, but there are bad lawyers, bad doctors, bad teachers. We're really no different. You know, I've got 720 police officers that work for me, and guess what? Some of them don't do a very good job, and some of them probably shouldn't be here. It's my job to weed those out, and it's my job to make sure that they don't contaminate the rest of the barrel. That's really the trick. One of the best things that's happened to policing is the different type of training that's going on at the police academy. The guardian mentality, the guardian training, as opposed to that warrior training. There was a time when everybody that came out of that police academy had the attitude that everybody out there was trying to kill them. And that's just, in life, that's just not true. And it took 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 years to get out of that mindset. Imagine how you deal with somebody, a stranger, if you think that person's going to kill you. Well, how you deal with that is entirely different than if you're looking at somebody from the guardian standpoint. How do I guard this person? How do I make his or her life better? And that's the attitude we have to have. never forgetting that there are bad people out there that will kill you if they get half a chance. But those are so few and far between. So again, it's culture, it's mindset, it's training, as well as the type of people that we hire.
Is there a crisis? Do we need to be out in the streets marching, do you think? Or is this going to be evolution instead of revolution when it comes to kind of advancing the science of policing and the relationship with the community?
It's not as dire and as fast as revolution, but it's got to be faster than a slow, methodical evolution. We have come a long way in the last 30 years. We've come a long way in the policing profession in the last 10 years, and I expect that pace to continue. I mean, we have new people that we're hiring. We have new leaders in charge that are changing things. We have a new culture that's dominant in the area. But the aspect of so-called police brutality, whatever that means, has been around forever. And as long as we have to go hands-on with people, and force is inevitable in police work, there are going to be those allegations. What we have to do is make sure that when these things happen, that the community trusts us, that we've done the right thing and that we are doing the right thing. That's the challenge, and that's what's so important.
By the way, where are you with body cams? Are you for them, against them? What's going on with King County Sheriffs?
I am 100% in favor of body cameras. There's a lot of impediments to doing body cameras. Public disclosure is the biggest one. The cost is big as well. But the thing about body cameras, not just body cameras and in-car video and cell phone video and surveillance video, what that's done for the community is it's leveled the playing field. Because it used to be he said, she said. And just like baseball, tie goes to the runner. Tie goes to the police officer. Now we have something else that we can use as a tool to determine what really happened. It's not the be-all, end-all, but it's certainly a step in the right direction. I support body cameras. Most of my officers support body cameras.
Sheriff Urquhart, thanks for coming and appearing on Northwest Now.
Thank you.
To see all of our discussions about police and race relations, be sure to look in the Northwest Now digital section of kbtc.org. Northwest Now airs Friday nights at 7:30 right here on KBTC, and be sure to look for more digital stories like this one by following us on Facebook and Twitter at Northwest Now.